Welcome to Rates and Barrels, live from the winter meetings. It is day 2. Derek Van Riper here with Eno Saris. Got some great guests joining us here in just a little while. Got a little 3-0 show reunion with Britt Ghiroli. Nick Wan from the Cincinnati Reds going to talk about his path into baseball, and our friend Levi Weaver is dropping by as well. Eno, how did day 1, night 1 of the winter meetings end up treating you?
It took a fair amount of groaning to get out of bed this morning.
I've heard the Eno morning groan before. It's intense. The glasses are not on your face. They're on your shirt.
That's for day 3.
That's for day 3. That'll be tomorrow's content. We had a good meal.
Oh, yes. Meal. Last night went to a Jose Andres restaurant. Had some jamón ibérico. And some patatas bravas. It was great.
Well, we got a 3-0 show reunion here at the winter meetings. Britt Ghiroli joins us. We got some big news that broke earlier today, Britt. Most surprising news so far. Edwin Díaz to the Dodgers. 3 years, $69 million. I'm not on the side that thinks the Dodgers are ruining baseball. The Mets were close, but this was a surprising outcome, I think, because after adding Devin Williams, it seemed like the Mets were adamant that Díaz was still in play.
Yeah, I'm surprised. People on social media claim that they're not surprised, guys, because it's the Dodgers and you can never be surprised. But I think if Díaz wanted to stay, if what is reported out there from all the Mets reporters is that there was, quote, wiggle room on top of the 366.
Yeah, why would $3 million be
exactly. So this tells me that Díaz wanted to go to the Dodgers. He wanted to switch coasts. He wanted what he perceives to be a better chance at winning a World Series.
Yeah.
Because if there's wiggle room and we're talking about $3 million, you have to imagine if they had gone back to the Mets, that the Mets would have said, we can wiggle, we can go up a little bit, maybe even get higher than $69 million, right? So this to me says a lot of things. You know, it's kind of similar to the 2 Rays pitchers who we saw went over to the Dodgers, the dark side to win, right? He wants to win. Dodgers are where you win right now. This is a big blow to the Mets. I'm curious how Stearns pivots here.
Well, I mean, they did a pre-pivot with Devin Williams, and I wonder if that's enough or if they try to go after Robert Suarez and have a kind of a 2-headed monster at the back of that bullpen. But, you know, it's interesting to me that the Dodgers bullpen last year was actually top 5 in wins above replacement. That's not how we perceive them.
Right.
I think it has to do with, you know, Derek was talking about this a little bit pre-show, is like at the end of the year, you know, the bullpen is a moving thing. It's a creature that lives and breathes. And by the end of the year, that was not a good bullpen. And they were really looking for things at the end of the year. And, you know, 21st ERA, maybe that's not as predictive, but it does tell you a little bit of a story that I don't think this was a good bullpen. This was a big move for them to do. The GM said, we're not sure that we have to make any big moves before they made this big move.
Yes. No heavy lifting is how he termed it, Andrew Friedman, just yesterday.
Yeah, but which tells you that a lot of what we hear is posturing. It's telling Edwin, oh, we don't know. We're not going to go to $70 million because, you know, our team is pretty good. Like you heard our GM, right? We're not doing any heavy lifting. But this is the one thing that Friedman was saying was, how do you make this team demonstrably better? And, you know, this is a way to do it.
Yeah, and by heavy lifting, I think that means we're not in on Schwarber. We're not in on Ranger Suarez. We're not in on Imai. We're not in on Kyle Tucker, potentially, right? They don't have to make those moves. They can shop in that next bin or any bin they want to. So if you don't like the fit, you don't have to be the bully with the chip stack, right? That's the way I would look at this. They improved what they needed to improve by getting Díaz. All I can remember from this Dodgers bullpen at the end of the year was Roki Sasaki looking like their best guy for about a week, and then the entire playoffs wondering how they were going to get the last 6 outs of any particular game behind their starting pitcher.
Yes.
Just hiding everybody.
Because of Sasaki. It's just truly remarkable. But it is funny, Derek, you say that, well, that's not really heavy lifting. Well, that is heavy lifting to, I would say, 2/3 of the league. To spend $69 million for 3 years on a reliever, right? That's heavy lifting. It's not for the Dodgers, maybe, but I would think for most other clubs, committing what is a record amount of money to a reliever is very much heavy lifting.
I mean, I think it's also worth it for to break the AAV for a reliever on this pitcher in particular, because I think when it's all said and done, he might end up one of the best relievers of all time. I mean, he has the second best strikeout rate among any reliever with 500 innings. He has the best strikeout rate in baseball over the last 4 years. It's a number that starts with a 4. He has a 42% strikeout rate over the last 4 years. The best strikeout rate by a Hall of Fame pitcher reliever is Trevor Hoffman with 26. So, I mean, if there's ever anybody that could be pitching now that could end up in the Hall of Fame as a reliever, it's Edwin Díaz. It's all about longevity. that's probably why nobody wanted to go past 3 years, because he's already in his 30s. But, he still has that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and it looks like for the next 3 years, he's still going to be a dominant pitcher. Every other year?
Every other year. So this year, 2026 and 2028 will be bad years, air quotes, based on the pattern. 2027 is going to be
gold, though. But the bad years are like a 3 ERA with still a 40% strikeout rate.
Usually, I think that just comes down to stuff, right? I mean, his stuff is excellent. It gives him a really high floor. The command is below average. That, I think, is where some of that noise comes from.
Yes.
It's still a move that any bullpen would benefit from. I think he's still a top 5 reliever, probably for all 3 years of this deal. Let's get to Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber stays with the Phillies, 5 for 150. He got the money and the years he was looking for. We talked about the Pirates as a possibility on yesterday's show. It never really seemed like that was realistic, in the sense that this is the last time Kyle Schwarber is going to get a massive deal. Still wanting to win. Staying in Philly made a lot of sense all along. The questions about it are going to be, how well does he age in the final years of the deal? That's true of any hitter past 30 on a contract like this. But Britt, how real do you think the possibilities were of Schwarber going elsewhere? Like, was that even more than a 20% chance he was actually going to leave Philly?
Right. Yeah. I did not think he was going to leave Philly. To your point about the Pirates, I'm putting them in the bucket with the Marlins. You can raise your hand and say, we're going to spend all you want. Until you spend money, I don't believe you. Right. It's really easy to offer a below market deal to Kyle Schwarber, as our friend Ken Rosenthal reported. 4 years, around $100 million. Like, that's like exactly. It's so you can say that we tried.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going anywhere else. To your point about Schwarber, this might be his last contract ever. He'll be 38 when this is over. The Phillies are really that old core that we saw last year. They're running it back again with that old core. So they're almost in the same boat to me as the Padres are. If they don't win in the next 2 years, they're going to have to blow the whole thing up. Like, this is it right now.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of an interesting scenario. I think he wanted to be in Philly. I think Philly fans loved him, embraced him. He was a huge part of what they were able to do offensively. If they didn't re-sign him, they'd have a hole. This does also kind of put Bryce Harper at first base for the foreseeable future. So it has a little bit of that impact as well. But I think this was a move the front office early on decided they were going to do. You look at it was 150. So, he's making a good amount of money. This is a guy that was non-tendered several years ago and has really turned his career around. So good for Kyle Schwarber, one of the true good guys in the game. I think for the Phillies, the question is going to be, if you're going to keep pushing your chips in, what else are you going to do? Because this is a World Series or bust team.
Yeah. I do wonder how much they're going to rely on the young guys and Painter and the shortstop and, Crawford in the outfield. Like, what are they going to really rely on those guys? Are they going to bring them along slowly? What they're going to do? Are they going to try to do the 2 timeline thing? We hear about that in Golden State all the time with the Warriors. Is it a 2 timeline situation where they try to do both things, be young and old at the same time? I also think it's really interesting to think about Kyle Schwarber in terms of aging. When you talk about a 33-year-old, you're signing this guy. I think traditionally, if he played a position, you'd be like, oh, I worry that he won't have defensive value. He'll fall off here and there. You're not worrying about that with Kyle. He can't give you any worse, defensive output. He is a DH. He's going to be a DH. That's the thing. So it's all about the bat. And what he brings is 98th percentile bat speed with, I would say, 98th percentile decision-making at the plate. And you just feel like that has to age well. If you are looking right now on YouTube, you might see the aging curve for bat speed, which looks awful for 33 to 38-year-olds. It's kind of amazing. At 31, you kind of start a little bit of a fade. At 33, you just drop off the cliff. And between 33 and 38, the average hitter in baseball loses 2 ticks on their bat speed. And that's a really big deal if you don't have 98th percentile bat speed. So, you can take his 77-mile-an-hour average swing and make him 75, and that's Juan Soto's, swing speed.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
So, he can lose the 2 ticks and still be really good. And I think what we might see is, some years with a 230 batting average, he'll probably still have a 360 on base percentage. I think he's just going to be a really important player, even in some of the down years. And like I said, he's not going to get any worse at defense. So.
Yeah, love that he's back in Philly. It just seemed like the best possible fit all along. I think the only question, despite good swing decisions, there is a little bit more swing and miss in Schwarber's profile than you'd like to see at his age. So The downside in average and OBP might increase as he does lose those ticks, but I think the power is still generally going to be there over the life of the deal. And if the Phillies get over the mountaintop and win a World Series, they won't care what years 4 and 5 look like. And clearly they're all in. You can tell that's what John Middleton and company are about right now before they possibly have to tear it down. And related to that, Britt, they gave Rob Thomson an extension through 2027. I think that gives you sort of the line in the sand of when they expect to win by. It's the next 2 years.
Yeah, and they added Don Mattingly yesterday as well. So they really are going all in. You're right, on this team, on this core. What's going to happen beyond that? Nobody knows, but they've taken a lot of shots. They've spent a lot of money. Certainly, John Middleton, probably the best owner in the game, if not in the top 2 or 3. I think, guys, in terms of wanting to commit money, wanting to spend, wanting the organization to truly win a World Series, we're going to see if that's enough. I'm certain that Dave Dombrowski's not done. They had a disappointing finish to the season. Getting Schwarber does set up what I expect to be a lot of outfield movement now. A lot of teams, a lot of agents were waiting for him to sign. So we may see some more movement here over the next couple days for teams that weren't necessarily in at the top of the market. But now that Schwarber is out, you're going to start lesser guys go.
I also think, I wonder specifically the Phillies, as older teams, their problem is up the middle and defense, and those are the kinds of things that happens with older teams. Who's their catcher next year? Who's their center fielder? At least their shortstop is set, but this kind of makes me think that JT Realmuto is just going to come back too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite possibly. Just
they
run
them
back
all back,
these guys.
I do wonder in center what they end up doing. That could be the one place where they say, hey, we're just going to put Crawford in center, and it's going to be for his glove, and he'll bat ninth.
Right.
And, you just give what you can and run on the bases and hit the ball hard when you can. And, we just don't want to spend there. Because, what's the alternative is, Harrison Bader.
Which is fine. He was a good fit there.
Yeah, he was okay when he was there. So maybe just bring everybody back. But,
you could run it back. This was a very good team in the regular season.
Yeah,
I think people forget that.
How do you sell that? We're getting better. We just signed everybody.
You got to make one more move.
Yeah,
You were aggressive at the trade deadline last year. You make one more move on top of bringing the band back together. I think that's enough. And then at the deadline this year, you're probably adding again.
Yes.
That's clearly the position that they've been working from in Philadelphia. One more thing I want to talk about with you, Britt. The Padres reportedly looking to make a splash. I'm like, well, that could be anything, right? We can maybe rule out some possibilities today. And I think we're going to talk to Dennis Lin on our show on Wednesday. And maybe by then we'll know even more. But what do you think this actually means? Is everything on the table? The wildest scenario I can come up with is, could they trade Jackson Merrill? I haven't seen his name in any sort of rumor, report, or anything so far. But compared to Tatis and Machado, who have bigger contracts, thinking about the age, trading Jackson Merrill might bring you the most back that helps your future, and the Padres have to start thinking more about their future.
It is, but you just signed a star to a below-market deal. So,
right.
I think if you signed him to what we view Tatis and Machado as these kind of inflated deals, then maybe you do move Merrill. But Merrill's the kind of guy you want to keep because he's going to be underpaid in just a couple of years. So I don't think it's Merrill.
$15 million a year for a center fielder.
Right.
I don't think they should do it. I'm just trying to think outside the box. Or you flip Mason Miller again, the guy you just got at the last trade deadline.
That's what I think maybe is a case. You look at that farm system and it's barren and people are like, they can't make any moves. But that's what people said at this year's trade deadline, and AJ Preller found a way to make it work. I don't think there's anyone in the game better at replenishing or restocking a farm system than AJ Preller. I think you give up an arm if it made this team better. And he's shopping, we know he's shopping Nick Pivetta, even though they need starters, because he's always working under a cost-controlled environment now. So could they flip Mason Miller and Pivetta and come up with a quote-unquote blockbuster move? Perhaps. Could they take a couple other big leaguers on that roster, Ramon Laureano, Cronenworth, and package them with a prospect or two, get back what they need? There's one thing we know about AJ Preller, and that's that everything is in play all the time. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to be part of that organization, as people I've talked to have said, but it's also wildly entertaining. So he could have things up his sleeve we don't know. I know at one time he wanted Mackenzie Gore back. He's a guy who the Nationals have, fielded a bunch of interest in as well. So, I don't count out AJ Preller, even though we think it's impossible for them to make a splash. That guy, like I said, would give up an arm if it made the Padres better.
I think we're circling around the biggest. I think we're getting it right. I think it's Mason Miller. And the reason I think it's Mason Miller is his second starter right now is Randy Vasquez.
Yeah, you can't run a team built like that.
Or you put Musgrove ahead of him, who's returning from Tommy John.
You do, yes.
Yeah,
and
then you have Vasquez third. and then Sears is your 4 and Waldron is your 5. That is a really bad starting rotation right now. And he needs multiple pieces in starting rotation. And the Kevin AC report mentions Juan Soto. And the reason I think that's interesting is that Juan Soto brought back a bunch of pitching prospects. They turned that into Dylan Cease. Maybe it has to be a two-parter like that. Or maybe Mason Miller just goes to like somebody like the Red Sox or somebody that has control of young pitching and wants to make that swap, you know. And he's got to paper over that starting rotation somehow.
He does. Without spending much money, they're about going to be where they were last year on payroll. And remember, guys, he's not afraid of a 3-team trade either.
Nope.
So if he doesn't have the pieces that teams want,
I mean, the Soto deal was kind of a 3-team trade.
Yeah, he's fine going to another team.
They got Thorpe and Vasquez and Brito, and they then traded Thorpe for Cease. So, yeah, something like that. I think that's the framework.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Now, the Nationals don't have to trade Mackenzie Gore. As I wrote for The Athletic, they're feeling pressure, too. They don't feel like they have to. But certainly if a guy is going to come at them and make a super great offer, then they're going to do it.
Mason Miller doesn't make sense for the Nationals.
Mason Miller does not make sense, which is why the third team is in play. Trying to predict what A.J. Preller is going to do is going to be a zero-sum game, guys. We're just never going to be able to do it, I feel like.
So we talked a little bit yesterday about the Nationals, and we like a lot of their moves in terms of how they're changing the front office, and even the rumors of Abrams and Gore make sense to us because they're 2 and 3 years of control.
Right.
We think that Taboni probably has 5 years at least.
He does. Yes,
so he doesn't necessarily care too much about this year and next year. He really kind of wants to build the pipeline and do all that. So in that sense, I think Gore and Abrams are tradable. But you made a really excellent point in your article, which is that maybe you're selling Gore low if you sell him now. And you had a piece of reporting about the Red Sox in there that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, they were the only team who called, I was told by 2 different sources. So they were the only team that was really interested in Gore. He had a breakout first half, but then kind of faded. He had some injuries. He was shut down early. So if they didn't feel that much interest at the deadline,
how much more
would you get?
Yeah.
And the Red Sox offer I heard was like 2 pretty good prospects, not top prospects by any means. So right now, I had an executive tell me they're shooting for the moon. And so I think that's what's going to take to move a guy like Gore. But if you're a rival team, are you going to give up the moon for Gore? You probably aren't. So I don't know. It seemed like yesterday there was a whole lot of heat around him being traded. I don't know if he's going to be moved soon. Will he be moved eventually? Yes. As you said, he's not part of the future. But they may hang on to him and see if they can get him better and trade him in July when there's less teams interested, but they're teams that are desperate. You know, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, they will pay almost anything if they think they can win a World Series and they're one starter shy.
Yeah, and the needs could change completely between now and July, especially. And with the amount of time left that they have Gore under control, they can wait it out. They don't like what they get right now. So I think that makes a lot of sense to be patient if they don't get the deal that they actually want. Britt, we appreciate your time and your insight. We know you got to get out, get the ear to the ground, talk to a few more folks, and we'll have you back on again soon.
Awesome. I look forward to Mackenzie Gore getting traded within the hour now that I've said they may wait, guys.
Oh, we better get this
We'll bring you right back. We'll text you if it happens.
Somebody edit this now.
Yeah.
All right, our parade of guests continues and just keeps getting more and more fun. We are joined now by Levi Weaver. He's the author of the Wind-Up newsletter that you see every day from The Athletic throughout the season. You get it in the off-season too. Levi, thank you for joining us.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very scared. I don't know what podcasts are. Am I supposed to sell supplements?
I don't think you have to sell supplements today. Were you selling supplements when you were doing
No,
podcasts?
I don't know. It's just part of the deceit is that I've never been on a podcast. No, I have no supplements to sell you guys today. Look at these arms. Would you want those supplements? No, you would not.
How did you get that jacked?
A lot of couch time. I was just sitting on the floor playing solitaire on my phone, which was my daily workout. And I do play Sandlot baseball. I'm not like a complete couch potato. That was.
How was your season,
buddy? I played 38 Sandlot games this year, and I stole 101 bases.
Yes!
So I'm still in pain. I'm not doing that next year.
That's almost 3 a game.
You play like my 10-year-old. He loves running the bases.
Yeah, because our league is pretty casual, and like pitchers.
Is there a lot of pass balls? Are these pass balls stolen bases?
No, that doesn't count. That's advanced on a pass ball.
Okay, so you're
or
stealing
a wild
these.
pitch.
Are they noodle arms? Or?
Some.
Yeah.
But some of it is just, it's easy to get a good jump when a guy's. Okay, so
he's got a whole thing he's doing.
The last World Baseball Classic, there was an electrician that struck out Shohei Ohtani. So I don't want to besmirch
Men's league.
the amateurs among us.
Yeah.
But there are not a lot of great pickoff moves
Yeah.
in Sandlot. So you just time it up and
Nice.
I do think in Sandlot, pitchers are worried about finding the zone and
Yes.
executing the pitch they want to throw, and
That's all
also
they're
not
thinking
getting hurt.
about.
I
Yeah.
never pitched until I was in my 40s in Sandlot, and I can guarantee you, yes, it's like, please God, let this be a strike. I don't care if they even hit it. I don't even care. I just want to walk or hit anybody.
I don't want to hit anybody. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
the
get
little
hurt.
leagues like too.
These are my friends. I don't want to hit them with the baseball.
So we want to talk to you because at the winter meetings, we usually check in with a lot of folks about their background. How did they
Yeah.
get to the role that they're in today? Because everybody takes a different path. So
Yeah.
the past lives of Levi Weaver, man.
Yeah.
Like, we want to know more. How did you get to where you are?
You know, it's funny. I will get college kids sometimes. They're like, I'll be asked to speak at a classroom, and inevitably there'll be one kid that's like, "Hey, man, I want to do what you do. How do I get there?"
Yep.
And you don't do what I did. Like I did not take.
You
any-
are a one of one.
So step one is drop out of school, and their professors love to hear that. That's
You're a
what I
great
did.
guest. Yeah.
Yeah, just leave all this behind. Go play music for 10 years. And then at some point on Twitter, you reply to a DM about freelancing for the local ABC affiliate. And then that turns into a kind of a full-time hours, not full-time pay gig for a couple years.
Yeah.
Give up on that, start your own company. It'll exist for maybe a month, and then the Athletic will buy it. And it's, at that point, you work for the Athletic, so you have some legitimacy that you did not earn.
Well, wait. You got to back up a little bit, though. You're a great writer. Where did you learn how to write?
I was a dramatic kid,
Okay.
and I journaled a lot about my angst.
Yeah.
And then I wrote songs for a long time. And I don't know, man, like, I wish I could give better tips on like, oh, here's how to become a good writer. And jokes aside, like the only actual advice I have is like find your own voice. And I wish I could remember the stand-up comedian that I heard an interview with, but he said when people first start with stand-up comedy, they're doing Seinfeld or they're doing, Louis C.K. or whoever it is that they liked growing up, and they're doing that bit. And everybody knows like, okay, he's doing Seinfeld. But eventually you kind of pick up bits and pieces from everybody else until you find your own voice. And this guy, he said it takes about 10 years of performing to find like who you are.
So the real answer is practice, right?
It's practice.
Yeah.
And
Time.
so, I'm not ashamed to admit this. Like when I first started writing about baseball, I was like, I'm doing Grant Brisbee right now. Not as good as Grant, because you can't ever be a better Grant than Grant.
So jealous of him. He's got such a strong voice.
He's amazing.
So you can
Still
know
one
it's
of
a
my favorite
Grant
writers.
piece with like almost like 6 words or something.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Or it's like this is a serious story. I'm doing Passan, and I could never be Jeff Passan. But eventually you copy enough people until you kind of find what works for you. And then the other thing that's worked really well for me is very counterintuitive, which is like stop caring. Stop caring so much if it's good, and do the weird thing that makes you laugh, or do the dramatic thing that, like this story I think is important to me. It's a good human interest story that I think is important, and I'm going to write it in a way that I would want to read it. And if nobody else reads it or likes it, I don't care. And that's really, in this industry, which is so fraught with just danger, you could lose your job at any time. And you have to care about that. But you just sort of have to take that part of your brain and set it aside and be like, okay, care and anxiety and all that, I'll come back to you. Don't worry. But for right now, we have to ask Adrian Beltre to rank these 5 things, and he's going to tell you that Tupperware is better than Drake.
That's amazing.
And it's like, you can't do that story if you care, right? Like you just have to be like, I don't know. It's spring training. It's early in the morning. I don't want to be here. What's going to entertain me? So that's not good advice, I don't think, but that's the only advice I've got.
There's something in there. How have you seen your role change at the Athletic since you were the Rangers writer, and you're on the windup now?
Right.
Apply what you just said to your new role and changing role. Like how have you found yourself again?
A lot of it was just that I'd spent so much time away from my life. When I was doing music, I was on the road. There would be years that I played 200 shows in a year.
What was the biggest place you filled?
On my own as the headliner, maybe 250 people in Seattle. I did get to do a tour with Imogen Heap in 2006. And we played 2 nights at a sold-out Wiltern in LA. That was pretty cool. I got to play Massey Hall in Toronto, which was awesome. That's been up for forever. Cool. So that was a really cool tour. Yeah. But yeah, just a lot of time away, and I was missing my own life. And then, switched from that to baseball writing, and I'm either...
You're gone again.
I'm at the ballpark for home games, or I'm on the road for road games. And my daughter asked one time when she was about 3, like, "Hey, do we still have a dad?"
Ooh.
And that was when I was like, this is not sustainable. I got to find something else. And so when this opportunity came up to do the newsletter, I knew that it would mean that I didn't get to like be so precious about my writing anymore. It's kind of a get in, get out. Like, you can still be creative with it, but
you can still have fun with it.
But I'm not the one, pounding the pavement and sourcing these articles and writing my magnum opus once a week. It's, hey, here's 15 cool things that happen in baseball today. Get in, get out. But I get to pick up my kids from school every day. I have weekends off for the first time. And so I do understand there were Rangers fans that were upset. Hey, we don't have we enjoyed you covering the Rangers. It's not going to be the same without your voice. And I was really humbled by that. I'm like, thank you. It means a lot. I really, really love the time that I had there. I miss writing for Ranger fans. I miss the culture there, but it's healthier.
Do you think this is an existential crisis at all in sports and business and media? Because I think about, players have the same feeling. They talk about the things they miss. And we just had a really high profile situation with the sideline reporter, Aaron Andrews, went out and said, yeah, I don't get Christmas and Thanksgiving.
No,
I don't get to do that.
Yeah.
And some people painted it as whining, but I 100%, we 100% know what she's talking about it. And it's not necessarily whining. And you can say, oh, well, you made that choice to live that life and you get something for it as well.
It's a trade-off.
But it's not a good trade-off. And, like old writers, you see it, they're divorced. And
I was just going to ask, with players, what the longest playing career might be 20 years if you're, Jamie Moyer, but most guys, it's a few years of that. You make your money and then you're done and you can choose to stay in the game or not. But like with writers, there's no real
forever.
Expiration date. And so I'm not going to ask you to name names, but like how many old beat writers do you know that are like happily married and well-adjusted and have great relationships with their families and aren't alcoholics or degenerate gamblers?
The few that I know don't have children.
Right. Yeah. It's not a healthy industry.
It's a really tough one.
And listen, I love those guys. I mean, they're still great people. Their community is us. Like we have each other as a community.
Right.
But it's not it's not the healthiest career choice to make.
And I think that we're seeing some efforts to sort of mitigate that, and as silly as it might sound, something like load management, for the athletes. I would love to. I've been kicking around a story idea of like, recently retired ball players have really high divorce rates, and like just giving them that knowledge, knowing that that's coming, think about your post-playing career. MLBPA does a pretty good job, but like you can do even more maybe in terms of advising people about how to manage the work-life balance, even in terms of like your whole life as opposed to your day-to-day, And I think even with writing, I think it's become a little bit more common that you don't travel on every road trip, and you do just take days off. You're not at the ballpark every day.
And writers fought hard against that. I was one of them. I'm like, but if I'm expected to be the
somebody else will get the other story,
right? Like if I'm not there, there are stories I'm going to miss. I'm going to do my job worse. Like how can I possibly be expected to be the authoritative voice on this team if I'm just not there for half the games?
Yeah.
And you should travel some. I think it's important. And when you're home, so for the Rangers, for example, at home games, there's probably 15 to 20 media members that are there. We got TV people and radio and all that. You go on the road and there's like
3
or 4.
Yeah.
And so you have the players' guards are down a little bit more. They sort of recognize you as you travel. You get it.
There's a structural component. So I don't know if this is true everywhere, but I've been to a few places. The home situation is always nicer. The home dugout, the home clubhouse is nicer with more rooms, more places that they can
hide.
not be, right? They're not being in front of their locker. So they're going and getting massages, or they're in the break room, they're doing this in the nap room. You know, they don't build nap rooms for the visiting clubhouse.
They don't want them to be well rested.
The Giants visiting clubhouse is so small and crappy compared to the home one. The Giants one looks like the A's situation. Like you go in there and you're like, are we in the same ballpark? Like,
I mean, Fenway is notoriously tiny, and you just walk in, it's like, I don't even know how they. Are we missing players? They couldn't possibly have fit 26 grown-ups in
How
this.
did they do like the 40,
room.
like the September
They
situation?
had that guy just like laying on top of the lockers, like, sorry, rookie, wait.
You had your stuff up there.
When you get a uniform number under 65, you get a locker. You're like hiding out behind the Green Monster.
Yeah, so I mean, there is definitely a benefit to traveling, but it's I've made some similar choices myself to keep the travel dates below like sort of 30 a year. And, you know, that's because I got my 2 kids at home too. You know.
Yeah.
I want them to know me.
Yeah.
Well, there's just pressure to post. Like we do 5 days a week now on the pod. I took a week off to move, and that's a thing to do. I felt awful.
Yeah.
Everything's covered. We got backups. We got a good team. We got lots of good people and write for us and podcast with us. And I don't know where that pressure comes from exactly, but I'm trying to manage that.
The organizationally redundancy, you have to sort of bake redundancy in. And so that's why it's better to have 2 people on a beat. It would be, in an ideal world, every organization would have 2 people on a beat. And they'd, we'd have 3 hosts so that like one can go and we'd still have 2 hosts, but that's hard to do organizationally in terms of resources.
And I think it's just part of it is looking at the industry. Like, how many friends do we have that 5 years ago? Well, no, 5 years ago, nobody was here because it was COVID. But 10 years ago, we're at the winter meetings and we're like, they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
They either lost their job and couldn't find another one or decided to get out. And it's like, but most of them, it's, some conglomerate bought a bunch of local newspapers and laid a bunch of people off. And so now they just don't have a job in baseball anymore. Yeah. I think some of that pressure is like, I need to be above that line of when the tide of layoffs rises, I need to be above that cusp.
Yeah.
It is pressure filled. And also for people watching this, like, I'm not complaining.
Right.
I feel really, really lucky to be here.
Yeah.
It is a job that is cool to have.
Yeah.
But every job it comes with its stresses, and it comes with things that are, I mean, we're all, no matter what your job is, it's hard.
There's a hopeful sort of tinge to your story too. Like, you've done such different things. Like you just find a way.
You can change lanes.
Right. Like I used to edit children's books. You know? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had a whole different career, and so there's some hope in that where it's like, oh, if it doesn't, I'll just try something else.
Yeah. But the older you get too, it's like,
it's hard.
All right, when I'm 30 and it's time to shift.
I was excited to change careers at 30.
Man, like, I'll move
not as excited now.
I moved to England when I was 25. You're like, sure, it'll work out. It'll be fine. At 45, you're like, man, it's hard to even like make new friends at 45. I'm gonna move somewhere else to a new entire industry and like, hey guys, sorry I'm late. I had a different life. Can I be your friends? It's a challenge.
What was the speeding John Heyman running past us just now? What was that
breaking
about?
Breaking
news.
He
was moving.
Was he? I missed it.
Must be a Boris Klein sign.
I'm going to clock that at a 5.2 40-yard dash time, and he did it over a speed bump. There's a speed bump with some wires under it.
Way Heyman runs a 5.2 40.
I mean,
there is no way.
I know what I just saw. We can verify it on camera.
Yeah, was he? I felt a breeze. I didn't realize that's what it was.
I don't know if he's getting 100 bags in 38 Sandlot games, but he's not giving you nothing in your Sandlot.
Before we let you go,
league.
What's your arsenal on the mound?
Literally, I have one pitch, and we don't have a baseball here.
No,
we
should.
This is the weirdest thing, and I don't just do it to be weird.
You have a weird grip?
I have a weird grip.
Oh, wait, hold on. I might have a ball. Hold on.
Water bottle.
Well,
got a coffee cup. That probably isn't going to do it. Eno goes and finds a baseball.
The setup is that I played baseball in high school and threw the ball normal, then didn't play baseball until I was 40. What year was that? I was 43, and I developed a case of the yips. I could not throw the ball straight. I'm like, that's something I used to be able to do. So, the normal grip for any fastball or an infielder, you pick the ball out of your glove, it's this, right? I didn't play for, from high school until my 40s, and I could not throw the ball straight. I had the yips.
Oh.
the only way I can throw a ball where I want it to go is to grip it with one finger like this. So literally every pitch is a one finger, and I throw kind of sidearm. It's a one finger sidearm throw, and it kind of does this weird little humpback, like almost
it's like a little slurve
move.
Little frisbee slurve.
And so what I do, because I can only throw, I don't know how to throw a curveball. I didn't pitch in high school. So I will change it up because sometimes I'll come from straight up.
Whoa.
And sometimes I'll come from straight side. Other times it's 3/4. And then once in a while I'll grip it, here and just see what that does.
Oh.
But it's all just
they're all kind of breaking balls.
Kind of, because I don't throw hard enough to throw like a rising fastball. And then it's a timing
three
thing.
different arm angles?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll do like a wind up. And then, so Austin Bibbins-Dirks taught me. Did you remember Austin Bibbins-Dirks?
Yeah.
He taught me something cool. He never tried it in a game, but I do it in games now. Can you, let me hold. Okay, so wind up, you're doing this whole, I know you can't see my feet, but you know what I'm doing. Stretch is you come here and you come set, right? When there's nobody on base, he did this thing in practice, and I asked him about it. He would come like this, pick his foot up, and then go into a wind up. And it's legal because there's nobody on base.
Whoa.
And so
that's like slow walking them. They think they're about to get it. And
then it's like, oh wait, no, it's the wind up, and you can't time it up.
Just gives them a little,
Yep. And then
pause.
And then I'll also do the Nestor Cortez or Tony Barnett thing where normally it'll be this, and then I'll be like, and just sort of look at him for a minute and hold it for a comedically long time until somebody's like,
they start laughing almost.
Come on, what are you? And then I pitch.
Throw the ball, man.
I did have this thing I wanted to try that I haven't been able to do yet, where I want to go into the windup really fast, and then from here just go literally this fast and land it,
and then throw it. How
and
much
then
force
see
can you
how
put on that ball?
It's an eephus pitch for sure.
It's going to be a 30-mile-an-hour.
But just flip it with my wrist from here.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot with one grip if you get really creative with the rest of your body. The one finger.
God.
People,
any pitching coaches watching this, try it.
Please don't.
I want to see this in the big leagues.
I forgot real baseball people watch the show.
Well,
turn it off.
Please
I think
try
for the
it.
Forget what you've
listeners
just seen.
and the viewers, this is a great PSA to check out Sandlot Baseball.
Oh, dude,
in your community.
100%. So here's what I will give you the sales pitch on Sandlot Baseball, because it is very much like community over competition, right? It's not a men's league. I've never seen anybody get in somebody else's face about a call. Catchers call balls and strikes.
Okay.
And we have people on our team that play college ball. We have people on our team who have literally never played baseball before.
Okay.
And it's so much fun to watch the new people like develop actual baseball skills and learn the rules. And like, it's growing the game on a very, very grassroots level of like, we all loved to play when we were kids. And then at some point, somebody told us we weren't good enough to play at the next level.
Yeah.
For me, that was varsity
it reminds me of like
high school.
Basketball.
It very much is.
Yeah.
But you also get like pickup basketball. You show up and you're like, all right, let's pick teams. With Sandlot, like we have uniforms, we have teammates. So you get to have that experience of being on a team.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
The camaraderie of like having your teammates' backs, but also like, I know what the score is, but 5 minutes after the game, it's like,
whatever.
World Series.
You're not
right?
stressed.
I'm not
a source of stress in your
Nobody's scouting this 46-year-old one finger fastball. I'm not getting drafted, right?
Well, during COVID, things got a little crazy.
It did get weird. Hey, we got a work stoppage coming up, so I'm not gonna cross the picket line. But if you guys want to come out and watch Sandlot, but it's a good time. It's a great community, and it's like everybody's just cool and enjoying the fact that like, hey, guess what? We get to actually play baseball again. And it's fast pitch, it's wood bat, like it's real baseball, but it's just a good time.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you for not throwing any super hard stats at me. I would have looked somehow would have looked dumber than I did. So
you were great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Levi.
Take care.
Now it is our pleasure to be joined by Nick Wan. He is the Senior Director of Baseball Analytics for the Reds. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So we want to start today. How did you get to your role, man? What was your path into the game? Because everybody at these meetings had a different entry point that got them into baseball and got them the job they have now.
Yeah, I was in grad school. I went to grad school at Utah State, and I was always interested in sports analytics to some extent, like through fantasy or something like that. And I never really thought of it as a career, but about 2015,
But what were you studying?
I was okay, sorry. Yes, I was in grad school for neuroscience. So,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
that's
so,
pretty cool.
yeah. So I was studying like how people form strategies, and I wanted to know like, is there a area of the brain that was the strategy area of the brain? So along my studies, I was trying to translate my statistics knowledge that I was learning in grad school to being able to explain it, because at some point in time I had to like defend my dissertation or something, I guess. And I thought like a good way to start communicating that was like, you know, I had a blog, and I thought maybe take the stats and apply it to sports was a nice way to communicate like what this, I don't know, pre-processing technique is doing, or what these statistics mean, or something that was a little more tangible than like these neurons are activating in these ways. So that ended up, helping me out with trying to win in fantasy. And, I didn't really see baseball as like or really any sport as like a career path, because I didn't think like I had the qualifications, or it wasn't accessible to me in terms of like, you know, my path or my prerequisites. So I started going to sports analytics conferences just to see like, how do people get into this thing? And then about 2016, I was like, all right, maybe I'll just put my name in the hat, and I applied to a few places, and the Reds ended up calling. So
In terms of like resume items, like you stream coding. So what coding languages do you know? Was that important in the interview? What sort of statistical requirements did they ask of you? Like what was that conversation like? What did they want to know of you? And did you check all the boxes, or did you have to sort of learn some of the boxes after you got the job?
No, it's interesting, because like I go through this exercise every year of like, what did my application look like, just to show everyone else like, this is what it looked like for me to get this job. So let's not go so hard on the candidates. Yeah. Please have mercy.
Yeah, I like that.
But
so this is like a sort of internal thing, like at the Reds, where you're like, this is what my application looked like.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, when I applied, they gave me a data set, and they asked to do some like outfield positioning, and I never saw positioning data before. That's not available publicly, and so I used a few different like clustering techniques. Like really, I say it's basic, but it's stuff that you would learn in like a intro or maybe even upper level statistics course. And that ended up working out pretty well, apparently, and got to an interview round. But in terms of background, it was like I took 2 years of statistics. I honestly, research methods was like the class I tell people to take. Like it's I think it's more important to be able to ask good questions and be like a good studious literature reviewer than knowing all the bells and whistles in terms of stats. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's what grad school and PhDs will force you to do. Like that is just baked into you forever, I think, if you go through those processes.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a role in hiring people now.
Yes.
What stands out to you now in applications? What skills, soft skills, or even just training? What really pops for you?
Yeah, I talk about hiring a lot just because the way we do it is we do the technical application stuff first. So when you're applying to the Reds in the analytics department, the first things you're going to be seeing is like a problem set. And that's sometimes other companies, not just teams, but companies will do like a resume review first and then the technical assessments. We just go straight into the technical assessment immediately because you got to know how to code a little, right? And sorry, your question before was the stuff I learned Python. Our department does stuff in Python. It does stuff in R. We also use several different databasing languages. But for us, it's like you have to know a little programming, enough to like be able to do the daily job. And then from there, the things that stick out a lot is like, are you able to communicate your results? Are you able to be able to write your results out in a clear, concise way? Sometimes it's
writing.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah. There's a lot of writing, you know, it's like, it's so much of the stuff that we do these days is through Slack, right? So it's not just like, you know, you're face to face with a coach. A lot of the time it's like you're texting or you're slacking with a coach. So a lot of writing. Can you be concise? The data visualization sometimes is a part of the process. And really, like, the things that I personally like looking for is just the enthusiasm to be in baseball. It's kind of a grind of a job. So it's a fun job, absolutely fun. But it's a lot of long days sometimes in the middle of the season. So
how have you seen? You've had a couple different roles with the Reds over time. Like, how have you seen your job evolve? Like, I imagine that, you know, when you start out in the beginning in analytics, like, a lot of it is sort of daily reports type stuff. You're kind of like running things that already have been sort of thought out by somebody, and you're kind of, you know, it's not super glorious, but you get an opportunity at some point to do a project, and you have to show you can do your project. And then if you do enough of those, you can go up the chain. At some point you find yourself a manager, which is a totally different role. Like, are you now not doing any of the grunt work yourself, and you're just coming up with ideas and telling people because that's what I want. I want that job.
I want the ideas guy.
Ideas guy is a great role if you can get it.
But how have you seen your sort of job evolve over the years?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I started as a data scientist with the Reds. I was doing a lot of advanced report work, so putting together a lot of data visualization, working with coaches on trying to get the right metrics or the right, I don't know, like, do they want 2 weeks? Do they want 4 weeks of a look? They want, you know, how many PAs do they want? How do you want it? Where on the page? Font size? So I did a good amount of that for my first couple years, and then I was, you know, dabbling in all sorts of different things. I tried to start our first pitch design related work, and then we started doing a little more like hitter heat map related work. And then I evolved a little more towards PD with the pitcher related work. So I was helping out on some of that work. And then I had I call it a sabbatical between 20 and 21, and then came back, and we started doing a little more on the amateur side. So overseeing draft model, and then it also allowed me to have a little more say using my degree, trying to incorporate a little more of the psychology into the process. So you know, whether it's sitting in on interviews or trying to find like some way to quantify makeup or some way to quantify psychology, like that's kind of a good amount of the forefront I'm trying to pursue now.
So you still have to actually get your hands dirty. Like, like it's not a big enough. It's not like the Dodgers situation where you have, like, you know, 40 people doing the work, and you just get to be like, hey, you do this, you do this. Like, sometimes you have to do the work. You're still doing the work.
Yeah, and shout out to Richard Anderson. He does a lot of hands on keyboards still.
Yeah,
but and I'd say to all of us still, even like at the director level and up, we probably still have like a project or two that we're dabbling in, or if even like you still might be the primary reviewer of a lot of code. You might not be doing the grunt work or anything, but you might be doing like, all right, the first pass, does it pass the sniff test? Does it match all the good coding practices? So I got a few projects under my belt still. Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah.
And your side projects are kind of fun. Where can people find you? Because you're still kind of a person in the public eye. You're one of the few people that kind of keeps you still stream, right?
So I actually this is actually a little of a surprise probably for you guys, but who watches my stream? I stopped streaming.
I
retired from streaming. I had a retirement party. It was crazy. It was awesome. No, it's fine. It's but yeah, I used to stream. I still have the YouTube channel, so if people want to check out some coding tutorials and me just chatting about like different data science related news.
Yeah, he coded up a Stuff Plus in like 40 minutes. at the Sabre Conference one year. That might be one of the videos out there.
That's
It's real nice of you.
40 minutes for Nick. How
Thanks a lot.
long did it take you?
Thanks a lot. That took me. What's the meme? I was like, I've been working on that all year, and he just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been working on this since 2008, and he just did it in 40 minutes. Thank you. I'm done.
That lunch after that, like sits right upside me, and he was not a happy camper. Sorry.
Come on. But it's been a real pleasure having you on, man, and I always enjoy hanging out with you.
Yeah,
so
thanks, guys.
Wanted to have you on the pod.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nick. All right, before we go, a few other rumors, rumblings, reports. Steven Matz lands with the Rays. It's a 2-year deal. I've not seen the financial terms reported just yet. Matz turns 35 in May. 51 of his 53 appearances last season came out of the bullpen. My assumption is the Rays like him as a reliever at this point in his career, but I was surprised to see, as a reliever, Steven Matz was not missing a lot of bats last season.
Yeah, the Stuff Plus numbers are decent. Not really stand out for a reliever. You're talking like 102, 103 type numbers, above average. But yes, he doesn't miss bats. So I think he's a bad fit in terms of the back of the bullpen. And right now they seem to have enough starting pitchers. So it does seem like a weird signing. However, I think that the way that the Rays think about pitching staffs is just, we need innings. We need, it's a little bit like a draft and hold situation, where you're trying to put together the last couple pitchers on your staff, and you're like, however he gives us innings, they will be probably above average innings, and we can pencil him in for 60 to 70 innings. And when we're trying to add up to 900 or 1,000 innings, in the end, we want those innings, and we think it's worth this much money.
And you might reach a point in the season, injuries happen, maybe you trade a couple of guys, maybe Matz is a back-end starter for part of the year, too. I mean, there's a lot of different ways it can play out, and maybe things will change with the depth chart because of trades, right? There's a report going around from Ken Rosenthal and Chandler Rome that the Astros and Rays have discussed the possibility of a Shane Baz trade.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, they let Pete Fairbanks go, so there is, an upheaval in the bullpen. Like I said, I don't think that the strikeouts are there for a closer role, but he may take some lefty saves from somebody like a Griffin Jacks, who, does better against righties.
That's pretty interesting. The Baz possibility is among many the Astros are exploring. The expectation, of course, Framber Valdez moves on somewhere as a free agent, maybe in the next few hours or at least the next few weeks. The Astros have to get pitching from somewhere. I don't think they have enough internally. It doesn't seem like they want to spend to get it. And the name you keep seeing as the most tradable is a guy we talked about on Monday, Jake Myers. I just wonder, have we seen Jake Myers' best offensive season yet? Injuries are part of the story in 2025. The average in OBP jumped up to career high levels. He does a good job avoiding strikeouts. I just wonder if he can put in low to mid-teens pop alongside the average in OBP we just saw this year.
Yeah, is there like anything left in that shoulder recovery? It was a big shoulder injury that sapped his bat speed. Can he, with an off season, can he add like a tick of bat speed or, add something? That's an interesting question. I think anybody acquiring him is mostly acquiring him for the glove and saying, we want the elite defense. We think the offense is either going to be passable or maybe we see an up arrow on it. The other tradable asset on the Astros, apparently, just reading a couple different rumors and putting them together, is I saw a line that the Red Sox were interested in Isaac Paredes.
Huh.
You have Cam Smith, who can play on the infield or the outfield, and that might be a mix, because there's another rumor that the Red Sox would trade a cost-controlled starting pitcher. Now, I don't know if I'm being like too hypey, but I just would they trade Tolian early, or are we talking about, Bayo? I almost see them being more likely to trade Bayo because it's a little bit lower ceiling, and they're like, this is what he is,
Yeah, and you got the extension already, so you have a few years where you've got him at a price that's already known. Like maybe that's appealing to some teams. They have enough starting pitching to deal from that depth. I don't know if it'd be Toley and early. Maybe it's one of the two.
I'd be kind of surprised they tried to trade it either, but
yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's an interesting
situation.
situation.
We saw the
right
Mets.
Now.
The Mets supposedly had this logjam of great starting pitching, young starting pitching, and they traded from that with Blake Tidwell and like others. So, we may maybe the Red Sox internally have favorites, and we'll find out who their favorites are, who they want to keep, and who they're willing to trade.
The other news item that we just learned about a few minutes ago, Vaughn Grissom on the move again. He heads to the Angels. Is there at least a path for him to maybe win a job and push 400 plate appearances at the big league level?
Yeah, I guess this must be about the Major League roster. It's not about acquiring a high upside prospect that's going to help you in the future. This is for the Major League roster. Does that mean, bad news for their second baseman they just drafted?
Christian Moore?
Yeah, who's their third baseman? And Rengifo still there?
No, that's the thing. Rengifo, I believe, is a free agent. They're going to do the buyout with Rendon. Moncada is a free agent, so they have a spot at third. So, yeah, maybe they're just moving guys around.
Yeah, Vaughn's arm is maybe a bit of a noodle, but maybe Moore can play third. It's an interesting depth chart. It's one that you, as a fantasy player, should probably study and make your decisions about, because there's probably some upside there to be gained. I like that Vaughn Grissom makes a lot of contact, doesn't hit the ball super hard. The guy going the other way is a lottery ticket. It's Isaiah Jackson. He was a draft pick this last year. He has like 20 plate appearances in high A. I don't think we can say that he, strikes out too much or whatever. It's 20 plate appearances in high A. So, they basically bought themselves an 8th round draft pick that maybe they like something about a swing path. The Red Sox are a big swing path, swing metric team. So there must be something they like about that. Also, they like he's not approaching the 40-man. He's not on the 40-man. He's a guy that they can have for 5 years and figure him out.
Yeah, I think this is about managing that 40-man roster and not really seeing a path for Grissom anymore in Boston.
It's a sad ending to the Chris Sale trade. I mean, it didn't really work out for Boston. That wasn't a good trade.
It was not. It was not a good trade. Hopefully some good trades, though, are on the way here over the course of Tuesday night into Wednesday. We'll be here in Orlando covering it all. Thanks again to our guests, Britt Ghiroli, Nick Wan, and, of course, Levi Weaver. That's going to do it for this episode of Rates and Barrels. We're back with you on Wednesday.
Thanks for listening.